Hi, everyone. I'm Annette with Recruiterbox Support. Thanks for joining me today. So what is a high volume opening? High volume openings are positions that get a lot of candidates in quickly. This can happen for a number of reasons. Let's say the job is either entry level or requires general skills, or maybe it just sounds super awesome and everyone wants that job. For example, if you're hiring for a puppy cuddler, I'd expect that to be a pretty high volume opening. Now, if you're hiring for a high volume opening, you should first think about what you really want in a candidate. Who is your ideal hire? Are there specific skills or requirements you need a candidate to possess? Next, think about these requirements when you set up your hiring process. Focus on steps that will make filtering candidates easy. Lastly, you're going to reject a lot of candidates, including some great candidates. Make a plan for all those candidates who weren't right this time, but may be your ideal candidate in the future. So who is your ideal candidate? Once you know, write a job description that is specifically looking for and would be appealing to that ideal candidate. Describe the job and what it entails. Include both requirements and preferences, and maybe give examples of the kind of people you're looking for. To demonstrate this, I'm going to use an example of a recent high volume opening at Recruiterbox and how we tailored our job description to this. For example, describe the job and what it entails might include what an average day in that job is like. In our job description, we said that the ideal hire would be taking calls, responding to a lot of emails. They'd be expected to take ownership of their position, track metrics, and also assist our happiness team on support tickets. This may already knock out candidates who don't like being on calls, since there's no way to get out of that in this job. You should also include both requirements and preferences or wants. Using our recent hiring experience again, we listed things like patience and empathy and mastery in customer-facing roles. Since we're able to train hires on whatever apps we use to accomplish the job, we focused more on personality traits and experience over specific apps and programs they need to know. For other jobs that need hires to already know certain apps or programs, list them. You may also want to give examples of the kind of people you're looking for. This differs from skills and requirements because it humanizes the job. For our own customer success role, almost anyone can talk on the phone and answer emails, which makes this a high volume opening. So to narrow down applicants, we added a section titled, "You're best for this role if," and included things like, you'd be best for this role if learning about people's workflows and making them most efficient excites you, and you'd love to spend your days on calls with customers, getting to teach them how to hire better. Now that you know what you want, let's customize your hiring process. You should plan to create an application process that's easy for both your candidates and helpful for your hiring team, and then build custom workflows to fit your team's unique needs. Recruiterbox has the following features to help you with this: custom application forms, auto responses to new candidates, follow-up questionnaires, and custom hiring stages. I'll go over each one in detail now. Starting with application forms. By default, our application forms will ask candidates for name, email address, phone number, and a resume. We recommend asking for much more than that though. Asking for a cover letter, adding questions that dig into a candidate's skill sets, and asking for links to previous or relevant work are just a few ideas. To take this further, ask questions that test for company culture fit, and maybe even make some fields optional to see who goes the extra mile. You can also set up auto responses. Sending an auto response to an applicant helps them know that their application was received successfully, which can cut down on emails asking if you got their info or not. It's also a great place to set expectations for the hiring process, which can then cut down on emails asking what's next. This can also test for interest and engagement. Someone responding to the autoresponder with, "I'm looking forward to hearing from you," may deserve to be reviewed ASAP because they're actively checking for updates. Plus, it's a nice courtesy to the candidate. Setting up an automated "thank you for applying" is quick and easy. Now, both the application form and auto response can be set up on an opening by opening basis by going to the openings details page, clicking over to the job settings tab. The application form and auto response are your first options here. Click on either of these to customize them. With the auto response, you'll first need to enable it, but then you can even choose who the sender is. Now, if you want the sender to be a generic email like careers@yourcompany.com, first you'll want to set up a user with that email address and then add that user to the opening, and then there'll be an option for you to choose as the sender. Next, you can also set up follow-up questionnaires. Now, follow-up questionnaires allow you to ask candidates additional questions beyond the application form. If you choose to add a follow-up questionnaire to your auto response, try to ask additional questions that will help you further filter through all those new candidates. This can tell you who's paying attention and who's an even better fit for the ones that seemed good so far. Now, to set up a questionnaire, go to Settings, then Questionnaires. You can save multiple questionnaires for different scenarios, and you can customize questionnaires just like the application form. Now, let's talk about custom hiring stages. So everyone screens, interviews, and reviews candidates, but think about the specific steps candidates should take to advance for your particular job. For Recruiterbox's happiness roles, we have candidates fill out a written assignment immediately after screening their application. Since the bulk of our job is via email, if a candidate can't impress us with their written skills, they're not a good fit and get rejected straight away. In fact, most candidates get rejected at this stage. After all those things that I just mentioned, you may still have a lot of candidates to go through. So here's your basic plan. Firstly, you're going to plan to reject a lot of candidates and pretty early on. Like I had said previously, we reject a lot of candidates in that second stage, which is why we have it so early on in the process. Our personal goal really is to knock out as many candidates as we can, even before we start interviewing, since we don't want to waste our time or the candidates. Next, you're going to want to scan quickly through the remaining applications and move eligible candidates to the next hiring stages. While you're doing that, note which candidates are great but may not be the right fit just yet. Now, it's okay to reject those, but we'll talk about how to mark them in a way that you can find them later on. Recruiterbox has the following features to help with getting through all those candidates. These are bulk rejecting, job relevance scores, candidate aging icons, and candidate labels. First, let's talk about rejecting, because you know you're going to do a lot of it when it comes to high volume openings. We suggest thinking about a question that would knock out a lot of candidates and then use our advanced candidate search to filter candidates who chose an answer that doesn't fit your needs. Then bulk reject them. This will help you reject all the people you already know aren't going to be a good fit based on their application answers. You can now even filter candidates by multiple application form questions, which is helpful if there's a number of questions that can knock a candidate out of the running. For example, if you're looking to hire someone who has a driver's license and your team does pizza Fridays, so you can't imagine hiring someone who hates pizza, then you can filter by those who put no to both those questions and bulk reject them. As a note, searching for multiple questions does look for candidates who fall into all of the filters you've set. In the example I gave, if someone said they had a driver's license but didn't like pizza, they wouldn't show up. Only those who answered no to both questions would show in results. So people who said, no, I don't have a license, and no, I don't like pizza. Next, let's talk about scanning through the remaining applications. Now that you've rejected all the no's, let's work on the maybes to find the yeses. Scan for answers that are make or break for a candidate to progress. Those who show potential can be moved to next stages. For example, if you have an open-ended question, be mindful of grammar. This is their first and maybe only chance to impress you, so if they're not careful of typos, they might be a good one to reject. Also, if their answer is too short or even too wordy, think twice about advancing them. For example, if you ask, what made you want to apply to our company? And they just say, you guys sound cool. Or they write a whole paragraph repeating how cool the company is, you might want to reject them. Lastly, look for unique answers. This is particularly helpful to gauge if someone is just mass applying to jobs. Again, using the question, what made you want to apply to our company? Check if their answer talks about your company specifically, or if the answer could be applied to just about any company. All right, so at this point, you've got a bunch of maybes still, and maybe you're not sure whether or not to reject them. For this, use our new job relevance feature as you scan through applications. This will allow you to give potential hires a quick score without making an actual decision on them. You can do this from the candidate list or a candidate's profile, simply by clicking on the stars next to their name. Filter and sort candidates by job relevance when you're ready to start progressing them through hiring stages. For example, filter by 4 stars or more to find all the candidates you want to move to the next round. And maybe filter by 3 stars for candidates you thought were pretty good, but not the right fit right now. You can reject them in bulk, but know that you can also filter and find them later on in case this opening is hiring again. Now, let me present a very real scenario. You got super busy last week and didn't get to work on candidates. And now you have so many candidates that it seems impossible to get started. So who do you start with? Yep, we have a feature for that. Say hello to our candidate aging icons. These icons that look like stopwatches or timers are visible on both the candidate list and individual candidate profiles, and allow you to see how long a candidate has been in their current stage beyond 7 days. These icons are available on all of our accounts now. So if you're not seeing any icon in your list or profiles, then good job. No icons means that all of your candidates have been in their current stage for less than 7 days. That deserves a pat on the back in our opinion. You can filter and sort by these icons as well. Start by going to your candidate's dashboard and adding the filter for time spent in current stage and choosing an icon age. Or you can use the sort by on your full candidates list and sort by time spent in current stage. I recommend sorting in descending order, which will place candidates who have been in stages longest at the top of the list. Start working your way through those candidates first. Lastly, let's talk about how to build a database of potential future dream hires. So sometimes a candidate isn't the right fit for a job right now, but they're too good of a candidate to just reject and forget. After all, rejecting a candidate doesn't always mean they're a no forever. If there are candidates that have potential to become a yes in the future, use them to build your own database of potential. Recruiterbox has the following features to help you with this: candidate labels and job relevance score. First, let's talk about candidate labels. You can apply labels to candidates to group potential future dream hires into any bucket you'd like. You can apply as many labels to a single candidate, and they're only visible to users within Recruiterbox, not the candidates themselves. Labels can be as open-ended as maybes or strong candidates, or more specific like Group B for sales positions. If you want to put together, let's say, a group of candidates who you'd like to offer positions to during the next round of sales openings. Now, when you're ready to find those candidates, let's say when it's time to hire for more sales reps, go to your candidate dashboard and click Add Filter on the left. Then choose the label you want to filter by, and voila, start reaching out to those candidates again. I also want to note the helpfulness of our job relevance score when it comes to creating a database of potential hires. Even if you reject a candidate, you can still sort by the job relevance score you applied to them during the initial application screening. I'd start with anyone who had 4 or 5 stars, as those are likely the ones who were so close to being hired, but maybe there just weren't enough positions. So just to recap, today we went over what a high volume opening is, figuring out your ideal candidate, Recruiterbox features to help you manage an influx of candidates, and Recruiterbox features to help you build and search through your database of candidates for future openings.